time for our NFL mailbag. All of the questions coming in from our live audience here at Chat Sports. Again, we're live on Monday and on Wednesday. First up from Robert Clayton. Did the Steelers screw up by not drafting a replacement for Big Ben? My answer is no. Because who are they going to draft that was actually going to be the savior long term? And was it Kellen Mond, Davis Mills? Pittsburgh was committed to going all in for one more year with Big Ben. So I thought they had the right game plan. Add players to win right now. Once Big Ben retires, then we can look at the future of our quarterback position. So at that point, I think they made the right call. Try and win now. Worry about quarterback later when you actually are in a position to draft somebody earlier on in the NFL draft. For Mark Pryor, who will have more to prove, Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold? Yes. Both have a lot, right? If Daniel Jones fails in year 3, Giants might move on. But my answer here is Sam Darnold. Because if Darnold fails in Carolina, where there are good playmakers, where in theory there's a very promising young offensive mind in Joe Brady, you can't blame Adam Gase anymore. If Darnold fails this year, even when they picked up his 5th-year option, I'm not sure how much longer they'll be committed to him in the end. From Rex Morgan, is Kelvin Joseph a day one starter for the Cowboys? I think they would like that. I think in terms of like OTAs and minicamp and training camp, the starters are probably going to be Trayvon Diggs, Jordan Lewis in the slot, and Anthony Brown on the outside. But as camp goes along, and we get to day one of the season, Joseph will have a chance to steal that role. From Mark Mulo, hey Tom, I hope you're well. I am, Mark. I always appreciate that you asked there. Really playing up the Canadian stereotype there. I appreciate it. Who do you believe will be the first coach fired in the 2021 season? I saw the odds. They had Mike McCarthy as the best, which I'm kind of surprised by. I got 2 names for you, both more dark horse picks. Zach Taylor, based on the odds, because if the Bengals are bad this year, he's gone. Now, the issue is the Bengals don't often fire coaches early. And I'll throw out Cliff Kingsbury, because the Cardinals went all in this year to win right now. And if they're bad, if they miss the postseason again, and we get to like week 15 and they're out of the mix, I could see Arizona blowing it up and starting with a new head coach. From Darkman, Nick Foles as Dak's backup, and what would Dallas give up for him? A, I don't think there's been any real interest in Nick Foles' contract and adding him, because in reality, he was bad last year. Mitchell Trubisky was better than him. Let that sink in. As for what they give up, I think a 7th-round pick would probably get it done as we sit right now, because the Bears don't need Nick Foles and would actually get their contract off the books in a way they could not if they were to just cut him. So I'm open to it. I mean, he's not that good, but yeah, I'd be open to that if I were the Cowboys, and I think the Bears would be as well. Seattle Superfan 1212. Should Seattle trade for Danielle Hunter instead of Julio Jones? I think from an immediate role perspective, it's a little bit easier to find a spot for Hunter. I know there's some unhappiness from Hunter's side with his contract. I think in the end, I would be surprised if you saw Hunter get traded to Seattle or to whomever because of the way his injury is. He's coming off a neck issue. That's a red flag for teams. They don't give up big assets for someone who's going off a neck issue and wants a new deal, by the way. Now, Seattle sunk money into Kerry Hyder and Benson Mayowa and Carlos Dunlap. So before the season began, they made sense. I think right now, probably a bit too many buts involved there for that one to go down. All right, so now let me know who you guys want. Name a player you want your team to trade for. Who you guys want to go get? Get your votes in for me in the comment section right now. It's the pinned comment, mind you, on today's video. From Mark Jones. Jack, take care. I'm going to scream here because it's all caps, and we scream on all cap stuff. Tighten up. Julio added to AJ and King Henry would be ridiculous. I actually agree with Mark. I think Tennessee makes the most sense for Julio Jones. They don't have a great number 2 receiver. A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Tight ends a bit of an issue too, but that trio I think is really good. So if I were the Titans, I'd be trying to get Julio Jones at almost any cost. Alex Hiddle in here now. We have too many corners in the Broncos. Packers wanting to get rid of Jaire Alexander. So if we include one of our top 5 for Rodgers, would that be a good idea? I mean, first off, I don't really know where these Jaire Alexanders, the Packers could move on for him. Like, they picked up his 5th-year option. He's awesome. I don't buy that. However, beyond Jaire Alexander in that cornerback room, I know they took Eric Stokes in round 1, but Kevin King's not that great, so maybe Callahan could make some sense. If like trading away Bryce Callahan is the difference between getting Aaron Rodgers and not getting it, Denver should absolutely go do it. From Gary Sanderson, Malik Hooker to the Cowboys. I know there is a fraudulent Twitter account saying it's down to Hooker and Hooker is down to Dallas and Miami. It's a fake account. Don't believe it. From what I have heard and whispered about throughout, Dallas down here, I don't think that the Malik Hooker medical stuff checked out very well. I think that it did not come back positive. That's why the Cowboys picked DeMonte Casey instead of Malik Hooker. I don't know how much interest there is around him right now. Now, folks, I am trying to get to 10,600 Twitter followers. As I check things live right now, I am 30 away on the nose. So if you guys have questions that we don't get to, you want to see my mediocre jokes, which I find funny, not other people find funny, but I think they're funny, go follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. That link will be in both the comments section and in the description. From Dark Prime 2, should Washington go for Aaron Rodgers, and what would it cost? My answer is yes, and also yes. It would be expensive. I mean, in reality, any team that gets Rodgers, those first-round picks will probably be later first-round picks. Not the same as a top 15 or a top 10 pick. So I'm talking first-round pick, maybe a player or two, other picks, first-rounders, second-rounders, etc. If I'm Washington, though, I go all in. If Washington got Aaron Rodgers, not only would they be a Super Bowl contender, I would put them in a Super Bowl favorite category. So yes, if I'm the football team, I am all in on Aaron Rodgers. From Robert Bruce, hello Tom, hello Sam, hey Jeremy. Unfortunately, just me, Jack, and Marshall today, but that's okay, Robert. I know you're used to Sam and Jeremy doing it. Do you think the Patriots stay put at wide receiver? Do they go after the ball threat? Julio, please. I think for the Patriots, kind of either Julio or bust. I don't really think there's another receiver out there that makes a ton of sense for New England that I know of that's on the market. So I think for the Patriots, really other teams, it is Julio or nobody. CBK Savage, Seattle trades a 2022 second, a 7th, Freddie Swain for Julio Jones, and a 2022 6th. For starters, I think your value is about right. I don't know why you get a 6th-round pick back. I love it when people do this. CBK, I love the question, by the way. Always trying to get that extra pick back. I respect how it. I love it. It's so great. I think the value is actually probably fair. It's a 2nd-round pick, a day 3 pick, and another former day 3 pick there in the end. I think the value is right. I think Seattle says we can't make it work money-wise, or at least we choose not to make it work money-wise in the end. But I think value-wise, you're spot on. And in the end, if Julio does go for a 2nd-rounder, there's like 25 teams, fan bases that go, well, why didn't we do that? I don't think Julio's value is quite that high around the NFL. Now, if Julio gets dealt, you better believe we're going to break it down for you guys here at Chat Sports. Link is right there, bottom of your screen. Hit that big red button and subscribe for videos every single day, multiple times a day, on the NFL, the NBA, and all the sports news and rumors that you need. From IK, any NFL news regarding Justin Houston? Not really. I am a little surprised that some of these veterans, Houston, Ingram, are not signed right now. The Ravens had interest. They brought him in for a visit, but they also drafted Odafe Owe in round 1. So I don't really think that's going to be a key role or a great fit there. I wonder if in the end we kind of get to the Everson Griffin situation where he waits for a while and then signs much later, closer to camp in the end. From Lisa Tatum, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins with Durham Smythe? That's a name we don't talk about much. I think he might be tight end 3 when the year's over. Mike Gesicki's probably tight end 1. Hunter Long is probably tight end 2, short term or long term. He's a 3rd-round pick after all. And then kind of Durham Smythe. So we will see exactly what his role is, but, backup tight end wise, he's pretty good. From Gary Sanderson, should Jacksonville trade for Julio Jones? I'm open to it. They have the capital. They have the cap space too. But you also signed Marvin Jones. You have Laviska Shenault. DJ Chark allegedly might use Travis Etienne in this wide receiver hybrid role. I am okay with it, even though Julio does not really fit. I think it's going to be their timeline. Julio Jones would help Trevor Lawrence, and I would sacrifice a future pick down the road for an older player if it helps my franchise QB. So I would be open to that, although we'll see if Jacksonville actually is. From a dude named Joe, Mike Remmers or Lucas Niang at right tackle. I think the Chiefs want Lucas Niang to win that role. Now, Mike Remmers last year, when he wasn't playing left tackle, actually played pretty well. Now, he's an older player. I don't know how much more he has left in the tank, but if he's the starter on that offensive line, which got overhauled this offseason, they're probably in a pretty good spot. Niang, meanwhile, the former 3rd-round pick out of TCU, opted out last year after coming off his injury his senior year at TCU. So I think deep down the Chiefs would prefer it if Niang earned that starting role. Will that happen in year 1, for really his true year 1 anyway? I don't know. So make your predictions for me right now in the live comment section. Pick a right tackle. Type MR for Mike Remmers or type in LN for Lucas Niang. MR for Mike Remmers, LN for Lucas Niang. Carolina guy says David Moore went to the Panthers. This is true twice, actually. David Moore, the receiver from Seattle to Carolina this offseason. He'll be receiver 3 or 4 for them. They also signed Grambling State's David Moore as an undrafted free agent. So Carolina guy, you're right, twice there. From Levi Linker, what will the Bengals record be in 2021? I mean, ideally, I think you'd want to say like 10 games. That's probably a bit too optimistic there. I don't really believe in Zach Taylor. I'm going to put the over-under at like 5.5. I might take the under there in the end. I hope Joe Burrow is healthy. If he is healthy, the defense plays better. The O-line is actually good for once. Maybe 500 would be good enough for the Bengals to help keep Zach Taylor's job. Daniel wants to know why we hate on the Eagles so much. It's not my intention. Sorry if it comes off that way. Daniel, we hate the Eagles so much, we have a YouTube channel just for you guys. Right there, bottom of your screen, youtube.com/Eagles Now. Go check it out if you're not already subscribed. From Big Phil, what safeties in the 2022 NFL draft do you guys like as prospects? I mean, the number one, I think pretty clearly for me, all the way through in the end, is Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. He is an awesome football player. I don't know if Daxton Hill is a safety or a nickel, but he's in play there. Bubba Bolden from Miami of Florida, pretty good. I think had Colby Harvell Peel gone pro from Oklahoma State, he would have been a pick. I don't know how early he ends up going there. I think it's Tyke Smith, is that how you pronounce it? He's the new Georgia safety. He's in play there. I've heard some good stuff about Jordan Battle as well out of Alabama.